Since it's the end of the year, figure I'm gonna start the new year out and clean the truck out and figure what better time to do a video of how I set my truck up. But I've been doing this for a couple of years, so it's gonna vary from year to year, even with me, of how I use these things. Some things start out with like certain rigging and snatch blocks and quarter wraps. Some I use more than others. Something I actually use a lot of now is the zip line. These slings, if I can get up near and to it and throw a speed line in it, I can send it out closer to the chipper for the guys to not have to drag as far, if at all possible. Plus, helps get it off of like if it's over a roof or something, helps you get that clearance. But I'm gonna just do a walkthrough of how my truck is set up, and show you what works for me. And if you're getting into the business and you're thinking about buying a truck or not buying a truck, here's a big pro of having a bucket truck. The reach is only 60 foot on this, so it's not crazy, but where I live here on the Gulf Coast, the only thing that's taller than that is pines, and they're pretty easy to climb either way. So most of the time for trimming in and out with these, the jobs that I do, this truck is perfect. But without further ado, I'm gonna start the layout. I have an 881.
Damn,
Don't use it that often. I
Damn,
got it for
boy,
a great deal. It ended up costing me like $1,300 out of pocket, and it was brand new. So couldn't say no to that. Don't use it often, so I actually keep the bar off of it because of how long it is, and I keep it at the very bottom of my. I had to build this little shelf so that I can isolate the different saws, and if you look, that's like a perfect fit of just the power head. Above it, that's what that shelf is for. I keep my 661. I keep a 36-inch bar on it, and I'm able to slide it in on the pass-through passage in there. The little shelf that goes all the way through. I can slide that in there, and that keeps those saws, the two bigger saws here on this side, and the bar. I believe it's a 51-inch bar for the 881. Like I said, don't use it enough to justify keeping it on, so I put it in here. It's kind of out of the way. It's not a real big deal. There's three on my particular truck, which is a 2010 F750. It's got the Cummins motor, got a 6-speed transmission in it. I believe it's a Eaton, but nothing super fancy. So this is standardized. So actually an old Aspen truck. You can kind of see some of the orange that's still in here, obviously. I keep a little tool set in here, just basic wrenches. It's not really enough to do any major repair, but minor repairs. Gotta have that on your truck, and it fits in there nicely. Next, I've got my bull rope, which is 200 foot of 5/8 rope. I don't have to have it accessible every day, so I keep it kind of by itself in its own contained system. That way it's kind of out of sight,
so lonely.
Out of the way. I don't have to dig past it to get to the stuff I do use every day. And on that note, even my my climbing stuff, I don't have to climb as often as I used to before I bought the truck. So now I keep my climbing stuff. I just use the line, and yeah, 200 foot of rope there. Forgot the name of this. The Akimbo. I've pretty much went through every mechanical climbing device that I could buy just to try them all. I've had the Rope Runner Pro, which I still have all these devices. I love the Akimbo because of how quick it is to get on and off the line. It's midline attachable, and it works great with the rope that I use. So I just stick to that. Climbing line goes down at the bottom, right next to the bull line. That doesn't get used that often. And I have Another bag that this is kind of my go-to crane bag. Most of these rope bags are significantly bigger. I don't even know where I got this one from. It's kind of cheaply made, but it works super well. It's got pockets on the side. They don't really get used. I've got the friction saver. Like I said, if I rent a crane and they allow me to ride the ball, this is the perfect setup. But we just did a job, had a 66-ton crane out there, and had 3 pretty big pies, about 100-footers, that we had to pick up over a house and get out. But we weren't allowed to ride the ball. Company policy was against it, so had to climb it anyway. So then I just went with the regular, or with my other climbing line. I use the Akimbo as a SRS. It's just single line, but this one, it's set up for MRS. I think that's the acronym for it. But I don't really climb, like I said, as much as I used to, but still a thing that I do, so I don't throw that stuff away. That's another thing I like about this bag. It's so small, I can put it on top of my other climbing line, and it's a perfect fit, really. This is my little toolbox for spare chains. I just keep my various chain accessories in there. This also happens to fit so perfect right there. It tucks in. You can still open the drawers up. You can still reach in here and get what you need. Just visibility is not as good. So, and I keep I've tried several different boots. This has been my last stop. I've had these for about a year now. Actually, yeah, I bought them in January, and here it is, December 30th. So I use these as my main climbing boots. I keep these on here for any crane work, or it's always with me. If I have to climb something, if the truck goes down and I'm in a pinch, I gotta finish a job, I can always climb. And they fit in here. They keep the toolbox actually from sliding around. I use the Banner Protos, the BT Com. They work. I know a lot of people use Sena. That's a little more universal, I guess, but I've got 4 headsets. I normally run a crew of 3, but I've got 4 Protos helmets. That way, if I've got 4 guys on the ground working, I can have 4 guys in helmets, or if the crane operator is there, I'm not gonna make him wear a helmet. You can just wear one of these. But I keep this just in here on top of the toolbox. It hardly ever gets utilized, but it is there for when it is needed. And then my spare helmet, normally I give the shiny safety green, yellow, whatever color this wants to be. I give this to the new guy, to the guy that comes in for once, twice every now and then, so I can see him. If I'm up in the tree, whether climbing or up in the bucket, I can see him. I got eyes on him, because the number of times that they'll just be just looking around and not paying attention, I gotta look out for them. But again, fits. That's that shelf. Top shelf ends up getting just various extra carabiners, slings, funnel, just stuff that doesn't get used that often. Same thing with my tape measures. I keep all that up here because it doesn't get used often, but it is there if I need it. This is one of my 2 mainly used rope bags. One of them is, I call it my rigging line. It is spliced from whenever I ordered it, they spliced it, or actually that's a Sonai, and I just put some heat shrink tubing on it just to keep it from fraying. This is a full length 200 foot of, I believe it's Samson 1/2 inch rigging line. It works great. The rope that has seen more mileage than even this truck is that same rope that's in there, but it got cut one time. on accident. Probably ended up cutting about 75 foot. So I just tied it off. I should honestly probably retire it soon. I don't use it in any critical situations. If I'm over a house or I'm over something, I'm gonna use the newer line. But this one, a lot of times for zip lining, is my go-to. I just call this my zip line. It speeds up the job a lot. We'll have to do a video of how I do my zip line, and that goes in here. Follow up with it. These are my slings. They've been used and abused, like this one. Pretty much almost never put this on a limb, but some of these have been, like that one melted. It was brand new from Monkey Beaver. Never even used it, it melted. I don't know what touched it. Might have been a hot saw or something, but a lot of times I just need it to hold something for me up in the tree, just a spare hand, or just clipping it to the bucket so it don't come flying out. I use these to their fullest, and it lives right here, right on top of the line. Got my little bag here. I actually just did this today. I got my new sling in there with the 1/2 inch rigging block and my small porter wrap. I've got another porter wrap, the bigger one, and various slings and stuff. Everything from more snatch blocks. That stays in a separate bag. I actually keep that in my chip truck, which if y'all want to see a video like this on my chip truck, how it's set up is actually right here. It was my first bucket truck, and I got tired of having to fix the boom and stuff on it, so I pulled the boom off and it's now my chip truck. But if y'all want to see a video on that, just let me know in the comments, and I'll do a little walkthrough of it. Most of the time we have both trucks on the job anyway, so if we need it, we just go to the other one. Rigging bag and stuff we keep back here. Keeps it tight, keeps it out of the way. All these gloves. I'm not sponsored by Milwaukee, but I'm just saying if you want to, I won't say no. I've noticed that these hold up the best. We've used other similar gloves that they're great, but they'll hold up 3 to 4 jobs depending on how big the jobs actually are. But these we can get close to a month out of them.
A month?
And yeah, they're double the price, but they last 4 times as long. So these little guys, I've got these in just about every truck, even have some in my personal truck. They're just easy to mark stuff. My brother does my stump grinding for me, but he's not there with me on the job. He's just, and with paint, sometimes you run out, sometimes you leave it. These, I can mark the stump, and he just picks them up, gives them back to me at the once he's done. So these are a great way for marking. On this side, last but not least, not much left. It's helmets, and they all kind of usually just get thrown in here because nobody's got time for it. On days like this where I'm like, this is where everything goes. It's all so nice and neat, and then at the end of the job, it just goes like this. And then let's go home. So we're done with the passenger side. Move to the driver's side. Not as much stuff on this side, but I've got my little coat here. Just a quick rundown. Also, I gotta make sure everything's in here.
What a mess.
Quick rundown of what goes in here is my Monkey Beaver slings. I love these, especially for climbing and if I'm doing crane work. Should have bought those to begin with, but you know, the more you know. Hindsight 2020. This is my throw line. Don't use it that often. Tuck it away on the top shelf. This tote, strictly climbing. I pick it up, I can go to the base of a tree that I'll be working on, set everything up there. Once I'm set up, guys take it away, and we're good to go. Same old Monkey Beaver, good stuff, saddle. I like it, it's done great by me, pretty comfortable. One of those don't fix what ain't broke. Pretty basic aluminum spurs. They're not anything fancy. I don't have any carbon fiber or titanium. We can't all be as cool as Jacob, although we aspire to be. I do anyway. Learned a lot from that guy. Whenever I was starting out, I was like, I'm scared of trees, and then I was watching him, I was like, hey, you know what? You know, I might learn a thing or two. Funny thing is, I used to live in Seattle. We lived in Federal Way. My brother lived in Graham, which is pretty close to where Guilty of Treason lives. I was like, man, next time I go up to visit a family, all the guys that I watch now that I live in Alabama, literally across the country, I watch all those guys. I was like, man, next time I go back up there, I need to I need to see if I can meet up with like Mitch Sonobi or Jacob Rogers, Randy. He seems like he'd be a hoot to work with. If y'all happen to watch this, let me know. I'm the tree dude on Instagram. Dude with 2 O's. If you want to follow me, it's okay. I'll allow it. If y'all want to see walkthrough of how I set mine up, if you care, let me know. I'll do it. You can only look and pick and choose a little bit off of each one. It all depends on the region you're in, the kind of trees you're working with, what you're doing. Everybody's saddle is going to be set up different. I personally believe there's no 2 saddles that are set up perfect or alike. Climbing tote, also just like the 881 fits.
Perfect.
Perfect. Oh, so perfect in there. We had to clean it out because my my lid on the 500 bar oil was leaked. Cut up an old bed liner, the rubber ones, and it was great. The other side, I don't know if you noticed, it was laying down perfect and flat. This one, because that oil got in it, it like curled it up all weird. All it does is just keep stuff from sliding. It's fine, it ain't critical, but it is kind of annoying. I like to keep the tree work ahead. Phew, I hope it do. I keep a basic, super basic feller's belt. I don't do a lot of filling. Every now and then I'll have someone call me to help them clear a property or something out. I'll just have my 4 wedges, files, just basic stuff in there. Again, this gets put on a shelf and hardly gets used. So up at the top, at this point now, I do pretty much as much felling, walking around logging, I guess you'd call it. I do about as much of that as I do climbing. It still gets done, but it's like my bread and butter is typically trim jobs and removals with the equipment I got here. So we'll start at the bottom. Got the 500. It fits pretty good back in here. Started laying it down on its side because found they don't leak as much oil if they're laying on their side. On an average job, we've got the 201 that gets used, which I also started using the Milwaukee, and holy crap, I've been using this one more than I have the steel. I've got a $1,000 steel and I use a $350 Milwaukee. Go figure. 261, my groundies use that pretty much, primarily that, and then depending on the job, it's either the 500 and the 661 that finishes the job off when we get everything down to the ground. All of this manages to fit right here. I've got one shelf with all my saw stuff. It fits it all perfect. I use this thing for my bar oil. I should probably write that on here, but my guys know that the short one is for bar oil, and notice they spill a lot less. So it's just, I know it's not what it's used for, and it says gasoline, but it is not gasoline. So I'll probably have to spray paint it or something. I keep this here. Got gas in this one, and I normally, it depends. I keep one in the chip truck, one in the bucket truck. I don't know which one I like more. This one's nice because it spouts a little longer, but this one, not bad. You just got to remember, you can't turn it and then purge it because it'll go everywhere. So keep that in mind if you get one of those. That's the fuel situation. I got to pick up some more of the oils. I had a couple saws ported by Leave Nothing Stock, and he recommended to use Red Armor. So I bought it, haven't even opened it up because I had a bunch of these steels. So they go in the truck. I try to isolate all my nasties, what I call it, all my oil, bar oil, the mix oil. I try to keep it all separate and close to the bottom as possible. Because if I put something here and I don't close the lid and then it spills, there's actually weep holes all the way around. You can see my finger. But it can go down and it just rolls downhill, and I don't feel like cleaning it up more than I already do. That's pretty much majority of my saws. Got a couple saws in my other truck. I keep my grease gun on the truck. It also has a perfect spot to fit. Just perfect. Couldn't do it better myself. You did! And got the other tools that don't get used too often. The PV, sometimes got, when we're loading the trailer, I have to move something around. Gotta have it. That's the nice thing about these shelves. They go all the way through. Some of this longer stuff, you don't have to worry about it bumping. Steel axe head on the West Coast saw handle, and then I don't even remember what these things are called. I'm sure there's somebody watching the video going, it's the, you know, the thing. So I agree, you're right. Oh, and don't forget the Milwaukee bag that's full of wedges. I try to kind of keep everything categorized on the same side. Like if I got wedges, I'm gonna need to axe. So I try to keep everything on the same side. Like over there, I've got, you know, the ropes and the slings and all the rigging is on one side. Try to keep all the power tools on the other side. I've got to come up with a good place to put this. Probably run an inverter and run it inside the cab, because I've got the Milwaukee top handle and I've got their pole saw now, their extended pole saw, and man, it blew me away how good they really are. Pretty much last but not least, we've got this saw that fits perfectly in here. You can see that 661 sticking up right there, so it kind of 69's it, and it sits right there. That bar won't let it go any further that way. This way it keeps it kind of out of the way, and we come in here and grab it. That's pretty much it. As far as this goes, I've got the storage from the back. I just keep pole saws in there. That pretty much does it for the way I set my truck up. Something I didn't mention is I just put a saw scabbard in the bucket. That's something that I waited too long to get and I should have got earlier. But other than that, that's how my truck is set up. That's what works for me. I'll be honest, it might change in 6 months, but right now, the way I've been doing work for the last 6 months, that's how my truck is set up currently. So if something changes, if I get another piece of equipment, if I somehow for some reason end up buying a crane, things will change, and it's fluid. It can change. Not like your gender though, that's a little different. Hope y'all enjoyed it. I've been wanting to do a video for a while, just never really got around to it. My camera guy actually works for me as like my head ground man, so it works out. If there's anything that y'all have questions about, please feel free to leave a comment, message me, whatever. I'm on Instagram as the Tree Dude, dude spelled with 2 O's, and Freedom Wood Co. is also on Instagram. I don't post as much to it as I should. Maybe that will change. Instagram and YouTube is kind of where I'm mainly focused on. Yeah, y'all stay tuned. Let me know if you want to see anything else, what other equipment I run. I can do a walkthrough on that. My chip truck, or how it became my chip truck. And thanks, I appreciate it.